Welcome, beautiful souls. This is VanessaSoulXO, and I'm here for part two of the spirit of jealousy and envy. Yes, there could be somebody heavily envious around you, and you were drawn to this, your ancestors led you to this video for whatever reason. Okay, so if you're new, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're returning, hit that like and hit that like button. And if anybody wants to book me for a one-on-one session, info is down below. Okay. I feel like there's something else I wanted to say before I get into it, but we're just going to jump right in. This will not be a long video. Okay. So, part two of Spirit of Jealousy and Envy. You are on a different timeline as other people and vice versa. So, people that are envious and jealous of you, one of the reasons why it's not rational is because you are on two different timelines, completely different. I'm talking different evolutional timelines, different soul timelines. One person could be a brand new soul, okay, never ever been in this life before, never reincarnated. And you can be an ancient soul. You could be on your way out. You could be, yeah, you could have lived so many different lifetimes. And so when it comes to evolution, right, we're constantly evolving. Everything, nature is naturally evolving, even if you try not to evolve. Even the people that say they don't want to evolve, evolution is happening. You're always evolving. But you cannot compare someone's evolutional process to someone else's evolutional process, okay? Because we don't know what that soul contracted and signed up to engage in and embark in and what their mission is in this lifetime. We don't know what their past life karma is, what karmic debt they have, what good karma they have, what spiritual inheritance they have. For example, no, spirits like don't get into that. Okay, you get the point. Now, karmically, you guys could be on very different levels. So it never really makes sense to be jealous of anybody. It just doesn't make sense. Okay. So, also, the universal law of attraction, you are not going to attract as much as you want if you're sitting there being jealous. Okay. And vice versa. If someone's being jealous over you, like, why does so and so have all this? And why is their life lucky? And why are they blessed like this? Why they got this, that, X, Y, Z? If you're busy focusing on that, you can't receive your blessings. So, the sooner you nip that spirit of envy or jealousy in a bud, the better, because it's a nasty little spirit, and sometimes not so little. It can really grow, as I mentioned in my previous video, into a big blob. Okay, it could be really, really dark. I have a lot of clients who are extremely successful, extremely beautiful, extremely XYZ, and they even tell me they experience the spirit of envy, and they can't really understand why. Or I've had people tell me, it's the first time I'm feeling this. And I think at some point on everyone's journey, they will feel it to some degree. Now, it's how do you deal with that? Because if you keep suppressing it and you're just like, oh, let me just rub it off my shoulders. I don't want to, I don't want to face it. I don't want to face the heat of what this feels like because, you're triggered if you face it. That is when I truly believe it gets worse and it festers and it grows. But you, again, are also, because of suppression, blocking what could actually come in and flow for you versus attracting more of that spirit of jealousy and envy towards you, because that's operating on a whole different frequency. That's operating on a whole lower wavelength versus somebody that's operating on abundance, gratitude, joy, right? The energy of abundance is of a higher frequency, and it's the complete opposite of the spirit of jealousy and envy. So anyway, it just, you want to think about those scales balancing out. And when you think about scales being balanced, you cannot receive your abundance by being focused on jealousy. And the people that are wasting their lives focusing on you because they're so jealous and envious, they unfortunately cannot receive their blessings. They're stuck in a loophole. And a lot of times it doesn't matter what you have, because my case in point of me bringing up clients that I have, during sessions that do explain this to me, they could have everything, literally, and still feel this. So a lot of times, and what I found personally is a lot of times people are envious of things money can't buy. They're envious of why people like you. Why are you so magnetic? Why do you have such charm? Why do you speak the way you do? The people will be jealous over anything, especially things that money cannot buy. Sometimes they're jealous over the material. very low frequency. In general, jealousy is low frequency. It lacks maturity, it lacks evolutional maturity, wisdom. It lacks wisdom. So the more you can see this and recognize this compassionately, the faster you evolve, the faster you pass that test and no longer have to deal with that. And what I always tell people, like if I've ever had somebody come and be like, Vanessa, I think you're jealous, or if they don't say it like that and they use like whatever, if they're saying that in some kind of form or fashion, I immediately explain, look, I don't want anybody's life because I don't know what kind of shit, I don't know what kind of BS, I don't know what kind of pain, trials, I don't know what that comes with. I am good. I don't want it. I don't care how pretty it looks on the outside. I don't care how rose colored the glasses are from the outside looking in. I'm good. I don't care whose life it is. I don't want it. Because I know, just as pretty as it may look, everything has duality. No one's life is perfect. Again, back to the rationality of it all, right? It's irrational to be like, oh my gosh, they have everything. I want that. What? Do you like what? Yeah, I don't know what kind of BS that life comes with. I'm good. So I'm reading my notes. Hold on. What? Yeah. When it comes to envy and jealousy, the energy can be extremely repulsive. It just does something to your spirit. When you're not operating on that time and you pick that energy up from someone else, it's repulsive. It's disgusting. It just makes you cringe. It's extremely cringe on a real level. Not talking cringe like, oh, I don't want to post this or that because it's cringe. No, this is truly cringe. When you pick up that spirit from someone around you or it being directed at you, it's gross. So because it has this repulsive energy, in a way it's protective because it's so repulsive, you automatically put a boundary up to that energy. You automatically don't feel like welcoming that energy in, which is good. Okay, so it's like a double-edged sword. It's twofold. So with it being repulsive, if you do ever feel this energy coming up in you, definitely do the shadow work, definitely work on it, nip it in the bud so that you're not being repulsive to people, right? I think everybody wants to be magnetic. I think everybody wants to some level, be liked. Not suggesting to operate like that and to move, trying to be liked, but who wants to be repulsive? Also, the other thing I'll say about it, it is a very draining energy. Not only does it drain you, back to the repulsiveness of it all and the lower frequency, anybody operating on that, I'm always wondering, like, are you not tired? Like, that is just zapping out your joy, your happiness, your life, your time. You're being consumed about the person. You're just ruminating over the person, wondering what it's like to be in their shoes, obsessing over the person, and it can get very, very unhealthy very fast. And it's like when somebody's in that energy, they have a lack of control. They're no longer in control of themselves. They're not in control of their feelings, in the sense of, it's one thing to watch your emotions come and go. It's another thing to let your emotions just completely control you. Again, it lacks emotional maturity. So yeah, a lot of times I am kind of convinced that the people that really struggle with this energy are either like newer souls, haven't had many lifetimes that they've reincarnated. So you want to have empathy and compassion, as especially if you've been there and you've done the work and now you're on the other side. But also, it makes me feel like these people don't want to evolve. They don't want to look within. They don't want to turn the mirror because they're going to feel it. You feel it inside of you if that energy comes up. And it doesn't feel good, even to the person feeling it. So it's like, why would you want to keep living in that? It doesn't do any good. It doesn't bring blessings in your life. You're putting yourself down subconsciously by putting someone else on a pedestal. Now you're creating a superior and for inferior complex, putting yourself inferior to them by being so fixated on someone else versus yourself, versus your own life, versus taking your life into control and elevating yourself. I did say this in the first video that I did have a coach tell me once, if you see that in someone else or if you see something in someone else and you're feeling that emotion, let's say jealousy, that's a cue. Maybe that means you need to go do that. Like, let's say someone is jealous of someone's financial bracket. I know I wasn't focusing too much on money and material, but it is a thing. Okay, use that as a cue to go get your life together and go make your money, stack your money up so that you don't have to look at what somebody else has and wish you could take it or have it for you. It doesn't make sense, and it's a waste of time. It's a waste of someone's life, the person who's doing that. And it's not a win-win situation. Like, there's no win in it. Even if I feel like, yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up now, but I feel like I said what I needed to say. I hope this helped somebody. I hope it made sense, something clicked. And yeah, if you're feeling any of this at any given point in time, do the work. That is my suggestion. Do the shadow work, nip it in the bud, focus more on yourself, use it as a cue to love on you more. It was 11:11 as I saw the time. Y'all could be into angel numbers, okay? Yeah, hit that like and subscribe button. And if anybody wants to book me for a session, info's below. Also, I do make handmade ceramic bowls and cups and vases for you to either honor your ancestors or connect with mindful practice with self. And the info is below. And also check out my book, Believe in Your Soul. Info again is below. All right, peace, y'all. Bye. Oh yeah, keep loving on you, okay? Keep loving on you to the umpteenth power. Like, there can never be enough self-love, and you're amazing. Yeah, bye. Okay, one last thing before I forget. The last video that I recorded where the sound was off, so I had to re-record it right now, is I did pull from the Shamanic Oracle deck, Shamanic Heart Oracle. And it's interesting because the last time I did it, the card I pulled said, those who are hungry cannot fly with those who have eaten, which was very fitting to this topic, which makes sense. If you're rising up in life and you have people who want to come with you, they cannot come with you most of the time because they're going to be hungry and they're going to want what you have on your plate. That jealousy and envy will potentially possess them. And now they turn from being a friend to an enemy. That is what the spirit of jealousy and envy can do. And envy can lead people to KILL. I don't know if I can even spell it out on here, but that's what a psychotherapist told me once. He was like, what do you think the number one reason of the M word is? And he said, yeah, envy. And I was like, wow, Spirit, what is your guidance and message in regards to this topic for the collective watching? Please and thank you. Also, check out my other videos. Differences. You can learn from people who are different from you. Cultural, age, conflict, opposites attract. This is fitting as well, because instead of comparing yourself and feeling less than, or I wish I had what they had, why can't I be as, beautiful, smart, intelligent, etc., right? Gifted, blessed, whatever, talented as so and so. Instead of that, see how your differences can learn from each other, how you guys are different, and that's beautiful, right? You don't always need to have what the next person has. It doesn't always have to be about you. Gypsy soul cannot tame or change a wild heart. Learn to accept its unpredictability. Also, what I'm getting with this energy in the bottom says independence, childlike adventure. What I'm getting with this is set your soul free. The more free you allow yourself to be, the more you're not going to feel a need or desire to compare yourself to anybody or want to be like anybody. And the more you're not going to be basically, I don't want to say attracting that energy, but it's not going to really be in your auric field, if that makes sense, because your wavelength is going to be too high. The more authentic you are, that is a high, high, high energy. The more you're not focused on imitating somebody else, the more you're not focused on pulling stuff from other people and being your own authentic self, I think it might be one of the highest vibrations. Pretty comparable to love, which authenticity is love. The spirit dance. Life is a dance between making it happen and letting it happen. Movement, guiding spirit, flexibility. So allowing yourself to move through the dance of life, okay? Because that energy is always going to be there. to some degree. Okay. I do believe like you can be oblivious to it. You could attract good enough people to you where they're not in that energy and they've done the work. But the higher you go, new levels, new doubles. Okay. One more, Spirit, regarding jealousy and envy for the collective watching, please and thank you. Also, check out my other videos on tarot. You are about to receive rewards for all your hard work and dedication, happiness, wealth, blessings, overflow. You could have been guided to watch this video because this is what's actually in store for you. This is what's actually coming up for you in your life. So you are basically being prepared for your table to be served before you. I'm thinking of that Bible verse, Psalm 23. How does it go? Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. So you most likely will have envy around you. Again, the higher you go, the more blessings you receive. Your harvest could be getting prepared, your table could be getting prepared, and your abundance is about to overflow. So you're needing to know how to move through that. And the card on the bottom, again, very fitting, modesty. Rise above the provocative challenge that some people present in your life. You will be challenged, humble, self-conscious, shy, grace, tact. I will say when it comes to dealing with people with this spirit, riddled with this spirit, you do need to be tactful. And tact is not always easy. Tact is an art. Tact is an art. Grace as well. All right, y'all. So that was the message, folks. I'm glad I've remembered that. Spirit was like, yeah, don't forget to add that part in there. So yeah, hit that like, subscribe, and check out the other videos. Peace. Bye.